This is KTN News.
Hello there, it is the 4th day of May 2017. This is KTN Prime. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Linda Ogutu. Let's take a look at the highlights of some of the stories that we have for you tonight. Swazuri and other senior land officials in hot soup over an alleged skewed SGR compensation.
Akanielezea ili niwe safe nianze prep.
A few individuals, for example 1 out of 10 individuals, can experience a few disturbances.
Separating the facts from the myth over the recently launched protection drug against HIV and AIDS.
Ninajiunga na ndugu Raila, najiunga na NASA.
Political realignments in the aftermath of the party primaries.
Na wenye walifanya kitendo chote shule siwaoni shule. Wazazi wa watoto siwaoni.
And the tears of a mother whose child was allegedly beaten to death by his own schoolmates. Welcome to the program. Our sign language interpreter at the bottom end of your screen. You should see it. There she is. That's Meresha Owete. Meresha, thank you so much. So, detectives have recovered 17 million shillings from the home of an official of the National Land Commission, 1 million in Kenya shillings and 160,000 US dollars. The recovery was made after investigators raided the homes and offices of 8 officials of the commission. And as Rita Tinina reports, Commission Chairman Mohammed Swazuri was among the 8 officials who were grilled for hours at the Integrity Center.
The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has been investigating corruption allegations at the National Land Commission, with claims that the commission, based at Athi House, irregularly paid over 2 billion shillings in November and December last year in compensation for land acquired for the standard gauge railway. The investigations took a different turn Thursday morning. Detectives raided the homes of 8 commission officials: Chairman Muhammad Swazuri, Vice Chair Abigail Mbagaya, CEO Tom Aziz, Director of Finance Francis Mugo, and 4 other officials. The search recovered 1 million in Kenya shillings and 160,000 US dollars in the home of one of the officials. Investigators had earlier searched Swazuri's Mombasa and Nairobi homes before he was taken to the EACC headquarters at Integrity Center, where he was grilled for hours. The other officials were also grilled as detectives looked into allegations of, among other things, compensation of people who do not own land affected by the SGR, double compensation, excessive compensation due to overvaluation of land, and compensation of individuals for public land. Swazuri was last month grilled by the National Assembly's Committee on Lands following a petition for his removal over claims that he received a 1.2 million shilling bribe during the processing of a compensation claim for a piece of land earmarked for the SGR. Rita Tinina, KTN News.
17 million shillings recovered. That story by Rita Tinina forms the basis of our big question tonight we're asking you. Does that raid against the National Lands Commission officials inspire your confidence in the government's fight against corruption? Does the raid against National Lands Commission officials inspire confidence in the fight against graft? Let us know what you think. Tweet us at KTN News, at KTN Kenya. You can also tweet me at Linda Ogutu. I'd love to pick your minds, just sample some of your views as we go on with this bulletin. All right, let's now focus on some good news. When a drug that could prevent one from contracting HIV was announced, many thought it was a wonder drug or a drug like a double-edged sword. That may on one hand save many, but on the other, similarly, put many at risk. But as Dr. Mercy Korir, our medical correspondent, now reports, this drug, when used as per the doctor's instructions, may be the difference between a comfortable life and a miserable one to those at high risk of ongoing risk of HIV.
Imagine if your husband tested positive for HIV, or it is your wife who tests positive, but your test results come back negative. Your life stops, drags on forward, or backtracks. Either way, your life changes.
That was the harsh reality that Pam Owino, not her real name, faced one day 4 years ago.
Haya, tukapimwa, mimi nikapatikana negative, yeye akapatikana positive. Sasa I think alikuwa na ngojea aone venye nitarespond.
Her suspicions had been confirmed.
Sasa hiyo nilijua ako positive. Mimi nikaona tu at least sasa najua ako positive kuliko hizo maswali zote zenye nilikuwa najiuliza zenye hazina nijibu.
For Pam's husband Paul, however, things were different.
Nilisikia hata kwanza haitakikana sasa niishi kwa hii dunia.
The young couple in a new marriage would face turbulent times, marred by violence meted upon anyone that came in close proximity to Paul. Pam would not stomach it and she called it quits.
Nikakaa nikaona mimi sitaweza hii maisha, nikabeba mtoto wangu nikaenda kwa anko yangu, nikakaa huko wiki mbili, nilimwacha tu hapo kwa nyumba.
Little did she know that she had run to what would be her turning point. Her auntie's random personal experience told to cheer her up became Paul's salvation.
Hakuwa najua, anko alikuwa na kunywa dawa na hajui. Mpaka ikafika wakati akagonjeka kabisa. Sasa hapo ndo nilipata encouragement. Akasema, kama anko yangu huyu ndiye aligonjeka, aunti yangu bado ako na yeye, hajamwacha. Na mbona si mimi pia nirudi tu kwangu, nikae tu kwangu.
That was at the nick of time, just in time to drag her then dying husband to hospital and do all within her power to give a man who had lost all hope something to clutch on.
Wakati mama alikuwa ananishughulikia, nilikuwa na mawazo mabaya sana kwanza.
The lady's persistence yielded something.
Nilikuwa nikisikia kwa watu wengi sasa wenye wako na ukimwi, wenye wako na hii ugonjwa walianza kumeza dawa kitambo sana na bado wanaishi. Sasa naye pia nikakubali.
Just as they had managed to overcome that, another unspoken, sometimes physical fight had to be tackled.
Ilifikanga wakati tulikuwa
kuna vita juu ya hiyo maisha ya bwana na bibi. Sasa unajua mimi niliona mimi niko negative, siwezi risk maisha yangu.
Sasa ingine pia kuna sikia maneno ninasema sababu anaona sasa mimi haifai sasa niwe akae nami.
Then in 2014, a drug that would bring a solution and return their bond was introduced to the couple. Pre-exposure prophylaxis, PrEP in its short form.
Sasa wakanielezea ili niwe safe nianze PrEP. Hapo ndo mimi yenyewe niliona hiyo ndio inaweza nisaidia.
For Pam Owino, this wasn't an easy pill to swallow. The idea of a drug that would protect her from contracting HIV from her husband was almost bizarre.
Sikuona ni ukweli. Juu hata mimi kwangu haikuwa rahisi nianze kukunywa dawa. Cha kwanza nilijiuliza, dawa ni kitu ingine, inaingia kwa mwili kutoka kwake ni polepole. Halafu inaweza kuwa na side effect.
Questions linger in the minds of many as to the side effects of pre-exposure prophylaxis. Experts assure us that this medication is safe for anyone at high risk of HIV.
There could be a few individuals, for example, 1 out of 10 individuals can experience a few disturbances.
Is this prevention medicine only a preserve of discordant couples?
This medication is eligible to all persons who perceive themselves to be at risk of acquiring an HIV infection. Anyone who feels they are eligible for this medicine, they have to access a public health facility where a qualified health provider will advise them on how to access the intervention.
The launch of the countrywide scale-up of the pre-exposure prophylaxis for people at high ongoing risk of contracting HIV spells another milestone in the fight against HIV and AIDS, a disease which almost 2 million Kenyans live with. For Paul and Pam Owino,
mimi ningependelea endelee kutumia press wakati tunatafuta mtoto ndio hii ugonjwa asipate.
PrEP is that difference between adding children to their family naturally or not being able to at all.
Kama umeolewa, kaa kwa ndoa yako, ulee hiyo ndoa, usidharau partner yako juu ni mgonjwa, juu ugonjwa ya HIV sio mwisho wa maisha.
By reclaiming back their intimacy and restoring their marriage, PrEP has been the drug that binds. Dr. Mercy Korir, KTN News.
Dr. Mercy Korir there reporting for us. Is it a wonder drug? Will it put many at risk? She's broken it down for you in a way that we hope will help you understand how exactly this drug works. Let's now focus on politics. And confusion and anxiety was witnessed at the offices of the Registrar of Political Parties as those wishing to vie as independent candidates scrambled to beat the deadline set by IEBC. However, IEBC has extended the deadline to the 8th of this month after the independent aspirants rushed to court to contest today's deadline. Our senior political affairs reporter, Chris Thairo, has more.
Politicians aspiring to vie for various elective positions as independent candidates flocked the office of the Registrar of Political Parties to beat Thursday's deadline for applying as set by the IEBC. After realizing that they will not meet the deadline, the politicians teamed up and quickly filed a petition in court and a certificate of urgency to contest the 4th May deadline.
So we are worried. The next move, we are going to rush to the court so that we can obtain an order for an extension so that they can stick to the deadline of 8th. Because this is what he has written here on this paper.
Kule chini kwa ward watu wanataka hitaji letu leo lipatikane, tupate certificate, tuwe cleared. Immediately tukiwa cleared tuende wapate haki yao, wapate haki ya mwananchi.
It's disturbing to say the least. These guys are just moving the goalposts and then play ping pong with us. Tumekuja hapa, it's clearly written on the 8th. We are here tunaambiwa tukuje 9.
They got a reprieve after the court extended the deadline to 8th May. According to the IEBC, the 4th May deadline was to allow the processing of certificates, and in case of any anomaly, then one would have the 4 remaining days to correct it.
Watu wamefika huku juzi bado hawajahudumiwa, and we were told by the Registrar of Parties that IEBC has not communicated that the deadline is today.
We were not helped on Tuesday, so by yesterday I came in very early. By around 6 a.m. I was here. By 8, lucky enough, by 8 I was able to submit my papers, and up to now I'm still waiting for my certificates.
The process is so slow that in that hata wenye walifika juzi hawajaweza kupata certificates zao.
Noting that the main political parties just concluded their primaries, most politicians who lost in the nominations had not envisaged aspiring as independent candidates, hence the last-minute rush.
Lile frustration ambayo sisi tumepitia kwa parties imekuwa dhahiri kwamba people do not want some people in their parties. Na wameona kwamba hawa ndio watu ambao wanapendwa na wenzao.
I have resigned from Wiper. I want to be an independent candidate, but the time limit seems to be initiated by them.
For one to be cleared to contest as an independent candidate, one must first pay 500 shillings, then deposit a symbol and other details with the Registrar of Political Parties before it can be handed a certificate to be presented to the electoral body, IEBC. The law stipulates that any aspiring independent candidate must not be a member of a political party 90 days to the elections. For those still aspiring to contest as independent candidates, still have until Monday 5 p.m. to apply, or else forget their names appearing on the ballot paper come the 8th of August. Chris Thairo, KTN News in Nairobi.
Okay, so those aspiring to run as independent candidates, at least you have an extension of time, Monday, 4 p.m. And listen, the country has so far seen up to 2,000 individuals hoping to run as independent candidates. So this is a topic that we have been focusing on for you. What exactly does this mean for the political landscape in this country? All right, so that is a conversation that probably we need to develop and help you to understand. Could this lead to a hung parliament? How is this going to play out? Those are the questions that are coming to the minds of Kenyans as we witness the long lines at the register of political parties. So let's see how that goes as the days come. Of course, Chris Iro will be keeping an eye on it for you. But let's go back on to our top story. This evening, detectives recovered 17 million shillings from the home of an official of the National Lands Commission, 1 million in Kenya shillings and about $160,000 US. So on a big question tonight, we're asking you if this raid inspires your confidence in the government's fight against corruption. What are your thoughts? Corruption has been